Hi, and welcome back to Angels in the Library. And on tonight's episode, what are we going to talk about, Dreek?
How did we come about? Or are we just Big Bang?
Are we just the Big Bang Theory, or where do beings and spirits come from? This is a great question. Um, so essentially, I'm going to break down how everybody was born. And what's incredible about this is colloquial wisdom has more information than any of the books you guys know of. Because what do people say when somebody's older than you in this world? And you're like, you hear a song, right? You're with your dad, and you enjoying it, and what are they gonna say to you? Man, that was before you was even thought of.
Yeah.
So people know that you're being thought of. I
Mm.
want you guys to remember this because colloquial wisdom is more valuable than any book you have. My father, who was an angel, always told me the words of the people are the words of God. If you hear something that's constantly being repeated, there's some truth there. And that's one of them. Okay. So essentially, how the creator was formed, like we talked about, the God, not God, the creator, the source. Go watch that video. The creator separated itself from itself to create more with itself. And how the creator did that was through thought. The creator thought of itself into four different beings. And then creation proceeded in this same way. Now, this even gets into manifestation. So think of it like this. Now, once the creator has these four separate beings that it is, those four separate beings make up the whole totality of the different aspects of the being that is the creator. Okay. So Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel, that's the fullness of the creator in separation. When before the separation, it was in one being. So essentially, what happened after that is that they separated themselves into individual aspects. And those individual aspects are all of us. So we come out in the same way that they came out. We're all being thought of. So how you were born because you were a perfect thought.
Mm.
Because when the creator separated itself from itself, it became a source field. Now that is the source energy that is the creative powerhouse, which is our energy. I think of our sun, our power. We get the energy from the source. Now, when you create anything, there's only two ways you can create. Well, in heaven at this point in time, there's only one way to create, which was you have to have an idea. And when the idea is perfect, boom, it's born through the energy field. Okay. So every being was
What's a
created in
perfected idea?
was a perfected idea. I need you guys to remember that. Every being was a perfected idea. There's no way you could exist if it wasn't in total alignment, total bliss, total perfection, literally nirvana level energy.
Mm.
That is how perfect everyone was. And that's how we get ranking. So the archangel Michael thought of itself into 9 ways. Raphael 9 ways, Uriel 9 ways. So they expanded into 9 form, meaning wisdom, and those are our lineages. And those beings rule over the universe too. Those are our lineage beings. We'll get into that down the line when we get into ranks. But I just want you guys to understand this is where race comes from. That's why there's 4 root races. So no matter if you're angel, demon, human, Palladian, all this is coming out of this. All concepts, everything that we have, everything that we know is coming out of these sides. So we are all aspects of the creator. We are all vessels of the creator. That's why everybody says that's why you're supposed to see yourself as God. Now, you are not Archangel Michael, you're not Jesus, you're not Raphael. That's why we have rankings, but you guys are still God. But you guys are flawed. And we'll get into that down the line. But I just want to let you guys know that this is how you guys have the power to create because you're a vessel that also can think thoughts. And you thought of people too. You might have kids down here. So it's important to understand that everybody is a perfect or was originally a perfect thought form from somebody else. And who you come out of is your origin. And you come out of lights. So we come out of light forms. So Archangel Michael's lights look different than Raphael's lights, than Uriel's lights, than Gabriel's lights. And that's how people can see you. We talk about auras. People can see you. They can see your lights. And the light you shine. What does Uriel always say? This little light of mine. Because you're here to share that light, that perfect light that was created when you were a perfect thought form, when you were born, a light was formed your spirit. Okay, and that is the light that you have inside of you that you're here to share. So that's where race comes from. Now, once we get to the fall in heaven, now we have different races. We have angels, we have demons, and then we have other beings as well that have preceded after that. So this is just the basis of everybody coming out of a thought form. So you were a thought of somebody else, and everything is thought. Everybody knows that. That's why manifestation is so popular right now, because people are coming into the consciousness that they are a vessel of the most. Like, this is what I'm telling you. You're a vessel of the Most High, but in order to be a perfect vessel means you have to have perfect thoughts, and we're going to get into what that means, because that's what we have the power to do here in this dimension. You can think thoughts that are false and create through hell, or you can have perfect thoughts and create through heaven and bring heaven on earth. And this is one of the only dimensions, if you're an angel, that you can do that in. And so essentially we have to bring heaven on earth. And I'll break down how that works through the portals and what makes something heaven, what makes something hell. But essentially, this is the first breakdown to understand spirit families. Is to understand that somebody thought of you, and you come out of one of those four sides, whether you're angel, demon, human, star seed. I don't care what title you want to give yourself. You are a thought of another being, and a thought of another being is an aspect of that being. Because essentially the only way, I don't think I need to go into that aspect, that part of it, like what an aspect of a being is. Do I need to? No. I'll cover that. I'll cover that down the line of, like, when we talk about why this whole thing happened and things like this, because why, how, what the contingencies of a being born is. That's a whole nother video.
Yeah.
This is just,
I was just saying that.
yeah, it's a whole different video. So essentially right now we're just covering that you're a perfect thought form. You come from a certain light, no matter what type of being you are. This is how you were born, and that's how everything is born. But now we have hell, and things can be born through hell. So and that's a totally different creation. And that's what we talk about, free will and stuff like that, because you can create outside of God.
Yeah.
Everybody is creating things outside of the creator right now. Nobody's being, 100. In divine alignment. What'd you say, Drake?
100.
Yeah, so when people talk about the Big Bang, I mean, I don't know much about the Big Bang theory, but they're talking about Big Bang that happened, that created the universe. I mean, maybe this is their way of understanding that boom, that spark, that separation, because it's separation that created, and that's what everything is. We were at one point, our being was one being, and we were all inside one being, and now we're separate forms of a being, but that we are still inside of, which is kind of complex, but we are separate forms of a being that once was one being. And this is what makes it hard, because now we've all separated, and we have to come back together when we've all been doing our own thing. So yeah. So what is a spirit? What is race? Where do we come from? We come from thought and frequency and light. And you are somebody else's thought form of themselves.
And we have parent thoughts.
Yeah, we have parent thoughts. There's parents that you're that's a whole lineage, So we'll get into this more, because there's only so many places you can be from. And essentially, like I said, no matter what, you're always going to be from one of those four aspects. Either going to be Michael, Raphael, Uriel, and Gabriel. And then from there, you only can come from 9 lineages. 9. So that's 36 lineages of one being. So you come from one of those beings. 1 through 9, the aspect of those beings. So your first lineage, your first light would be Michael. Your second light would be that whoever being you come out of.
I was going to say, and of course, somebody funny had to think of me.
You were like, "Oh, I'm perfect." And that's why it's kind of like crazy because people like forget that they like love who they are because there's no way you can't love who you didn't love who you are because you were born perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All you knew was how happy you were to be born when you were born.
Baby.
Perfect
Next video,
baby.
I guess you'll talk about how what makes a thought perfect.
What makes a thought perfect?
Yeah, you said we're born out of perfected thoughts.
Okay. What makes it I think that's something down the line because we have to get into heaven and hell and demons and this and that to break down what makes something perfect.
Yeah.
I was thinking next video we'll get into because now that you guys understand what spirits are and how you guys come from, then we can get into the spirit races.
Hmm.
And then we'll get into demons.
True that.
And then yeah, then we'll get into what makes a perfect thought. Yep. And I mean it's simple, really just it being 100% true.
Hmm.
Or you mean are you saying like oh sorry. Are you saying more so like why beings think of thoughts and how they have the right to think of thoughts?
Not really. I mean, you were just saying that a thought has to be perfect. Kind of like when we talk about manifesting, people are like,
Oh.
it needs to be perfect. And I'm like, well, what constitutes a perfect thought for it to be?
Oh, okay. Okay, so maybe we can do that in the manifestational series.
Mm-hmm.
What constitutes a perfect thought? Because that's really important in the sense of people manifesting all kinds of things, and then when they get it, they don't enjoy it because it was never a perfect thought. It was never a real thought. And
Right.
so we'll definitely cover that because we have the power of the creator, but it's limited. And that's what people don't want to know either. It's
Yeah.
limited based around who you are and based around your truth. And that's why you can create a bunch of BS and be like a demon. That's what demons do. They create a bunch of BS things that aren't true. They create a bunch of lies. And we don't want to do that. We want to create a bunch of truths, aka a bunch of God on earth. So all that will be addressed as we keep building upon the principles of the universe and where you guys come from. So I'm just happy to be here. Happy to, you know, bring this information down for y'all. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you do what, Dreek?
Comment, rate, subscribe, and follow, and just stick around. And also leave comments for sure.
And let me know how you guys are taking it in. I love you guys. Good night.